On the Fringe with Dan Radio Style. Hope everybody out there's having themselves a great day. Well, it's happened again. It happened really just not too long after I finished recording yesterday, and generally I kind of put up the news for the day when that happens. We had another attempted assassination on Trump. This one's very, interesting in a lot of ways. We've already figured out a great deal of information about this guy. We're going to cover it, and I've got quite a bit of information to get through, so we are going to go ahead and start moving along on that endeavor. But I think we should have a decent show here. They made that change again, too. It's like, it was good for a few days, my little Telegram problem, and now my Telegram problem's back, but it'll go away again soon. Want to remind everybody, making America great again does not involve other people or other circumstances. It's all inside you and your head and who you have chosen to trust. Victory is simple. Stop trusting the people and the systems you have grown up trusting. They are untrustworthy help. All of those systems that we've grown up trusting. This is going to be the biggest trick in this whole process for us. Just to start off, assassination attempts against Donald Trump. There's been 2. Donald Trump successful on both. So Donald Trump, 2. Kamala Harris, 0. Yeah, exactly. The right wing is where the violence is at. I love that. That's just become like the almost the meme in my whole life. This is pretty darn funny, too. Again, Donald Trump, 0 to 2, showing him walking around with a wheelbarrow, just holding his calzones, if you will. His huevos, I don't know, we can call them all sorts of things. Let's try not to be too crass just yet. We're still early on. Something strange that happened out in Maryland State Beach. I don't exactly know why or how this happens. This is weird. But a whole bunch of medical waste has been washing up on shore. A whole bunch of medical waste is washing up on shore, on the beach. So they've removed swimming or anything like that because God knows what sort of crazy stuff, needles or anything. Gross. So very strange that's happening over there in Maryland. Such a happy place, right? At least it's supposed to be. Folks, the system, right? If Trump would have died, think about it, how catastrophic things could have been, especially on the markets and stuff. I'm telling you, if you guys are still in their system, you're still attached to the deep state system, you're in an IRA or a 401k, get out of their system. You can get out tax-free and penalty-free, but you can also get out sort of quickly because we frankly don't know when or how or what because there's so much going on. Obviously, they want to kill Trump. They've tried twice now and don't think they're done trying. These things have huge impacts on the big picture. Now, the deep state also doesn't like the fact that Trump's going to win because he's going to change the system, and that's freaking him out. So we've got a lot of problems that are definitely brewing that are going to affect your portfolio. That's the hard part. Like you could go down 5, 10, 15% in one day or more. And we don't know when or how. But we do know that right now precious metals have been doing amazing. They're actually out preceding. Only other thing that's doing better than them is Bitcoin, but that's kind of a tricky one to invest on. And I don't know if there's a way to move your 401k or IRA over to a Bitcoin. I don't believe you can. Be an interesting idea. That happens, who knows? Maybe we'll talk about it then. But fact is, this is the second best performing asset that's in the market. Housing, not so good. I mean, again, if you take it over 30 years with the write-offs and everything you get, it's actually not a bad investment. But it's not holding up when you look at inflation. Again, you think about a house. The same house 10 years ago was significantly cheaper, right? Well, that same house today is still the same house. In fact, some would say it's actually worth slightly less as far as value because it's older. You have to replace the roof at 20 years or so, right? There's certain things that start to happen. So the same house, worth way more money, but technically the value of that house hasn't really gone up unless you've done a bunch of remodeling or whatever, but keeping things simple, you kind of get the point. That's inflation. And that's because the government continues to print money. That inflation's taken a bite out of your portfolio. Your portfolio has been sitting there to like, but I made 3%, 5% last year. Right. So take that money and look at it compared to inflation, and you'll find you're actually losing buying power. You're losing wealth. Precious metals aren't doing that. Precious metals are gaining value, gaining wealth. You're actually becoming richer, technically, because of the way that the precious metals markets are moving. And they're far from done. There's so much more movement happening, and it's happening kind of quickly. This is one of those things where you don't want to wait too much longer because it's frankly just getting more and more expensive to buy precious metals. That's not going to slow down, and the value of your money in the stock market's only going to go down. It's not a good thing. DRSlikesgold.com. DRSlikesgold.com. Get out of their system. Get out of it. And if you've got some cash that you'd like to kind of push to the other side, make it to tomorrow, if you will. It doesn't have to be much, a couple $1,000s or whatever, but you want to get some precious metals. Also, fill out these 4 data points. Goldco can help you do that. They've got a number of suppliers. They've actually got some really interesting metals too. If you're kind of wanting to experiment a little bit, get some weird stuff just because so you can say you got it. They've got all sorts of great metals. So check it out. Go to drslikesgold.com. drslikesgold.com. Get out of their system, tax-free, penalty-free. It's physical metals put into a trust. They're there, and you can continue to put money into it if you wish, or you can take money out at some point. drslikesgold.com. drslikesgold.com. Get out of their system while you still can. They're definitely trying to take it all away from you. We know that much. All right, we've got this post. Here's some body cam footage released of the actual apprehension. I'm kind of getting in front of this a little bit, but we've got everything kind of leading up to it, but I want to sort of start here. They have arrested the individual. He's in surprisingly good shape, it seems, but we've got a lot of information to talk about regarding him, regarding the Secret Service, regarding how odd this situation was. So again, here's the video of him being arrested.
We just got for the first time the body camera footage from the local sheriff's office. This is the arrest, the apprehension on I-95. Let's watch.
Straight back! Keep walking! Keep that long. Driver! Take 2 steps to your right! Take 2 steps to your right!
Okay, this is what you just...
Walk straight back!
This is what you just witnessed. You can hear and first of all see the sheriff, the tactical units. They mobilized quickly. He was heading up I-95, and because of the witness, they were notified by the Secret Service. That worked. See the apprehension. Bobby Mack, tell us your interpretation and how much they actually mobilized. The locals got there with dogs, with all the weaponry they needed. They didn't know what to get from him, what to expect.
Absolutely, Andrea. Great coordination, great communication, some stuff that we didn't see 9 weeks ago, but we saw it here yesterday, that the elements all work together. In law enforcement, and I know my colleague Jim will, I hope, will agree with me, sometimes it's okay to get lucky. And we got lucky with that witness yesterday who took that photograph and took that license plate, got that information to where it needed to get to. That information was then passed real time, and that individual was apprehended, I guess it's 45 miles north of where the incident took place. So excellent work on the part of everybody in that case, and glad that we have that individual in custody.
What's most important about this story, and why I shared it specifically, is it is truly because one person saw this guy, saw him go into a car, and got his license plate number. One person made the difference. This dude would have gotten away. This dude, definitely from what we know, seems to have some ties to soldiers, or at least ties to, I don't know, like he seems to have some weird connections. Let's put it that way. We'll get there. We're finding out more and more. Now, Zelensky's cannon fodder, the strange lives and pointless deaths of foreign mercenaries fighting in Ukraine. This, I think, is talking about how, and this guy, his name's Routh, his last name. We'll get to the full name. I've already forgotten part of it. But he was actually called out in this article. Maybe I'll be lucky and I can find it in here. And it's got his name. But he was called out in this, oddly, RT article back in 2023. And he was actually trying to bring people from Afghanistan over to fight in the war in Ukraine. Now, we've got information to demonstrate that he is very pro-Ukraine. He's very, very anti-Trump, very, very anti-Trump, very anti-Republican, very anti-anybody that used, like Tulsi Gabbard. He's anti-her. He hates her ass. He wishes she would get out of Hawaii, which is where this dude's from. So he gets called out in this article somewhere, and they're talking about how this guy, here it is, Ryan Routh. Right here, Ryan Routh, whatever. I wrote about Ryan Routh, a former construction worker from North Carolina who spent several months in Ukraine last year and is now seeking recruits among Afghan soldiers who fled the Taliban. He plans to move them to Ukraine from Pakistan and Iran, in some cases illegally. Nevertheless, dozens of people have apparently expressed an interest. So this individual has been very involved in some interesting stuff with soldiers. Just by the very nature, to be able to get into that and have any sort of abilities to organize stuff like that and to know what to ask for, which he seems to, is kind of shocking, right? So again, we got another attempt at Donald Trump. Now, the Trump campaign came out, made a statement. President Trump is safe following the gunshots in his vicinity. No further details at this time. We've got lots of details at this time, but at the time, right after it happened, they didn't. Again, I like to kind of play through the timeline. It's more fun. Marjorie Taylor Greene posted this. President Trump is safe and sound after another assassination attempt. Kind of a stretch, we'll see. But based off of what they charged him with and based off of some of the eyewitness accounts, it doesn't seem that he got a shot off or decided to take a shot, but the Secret Service supposedly shot at him, and that seemed to be when he fled. Might have gotten some people's attention. Maybe that's why they saw the car he got in. Thank God one person saw it. So Marjorie Taylor Greene said he's safe. Another assassination attempt. Thank God they are trying to kill him. Yeah. They will do anything to stop him from winning. Yes. She followed up. There was possibly another assassination attempt on President Trump. Pray for President Trump. And again, it was sharing the Trump post, the campaign post. So Trump is safe and well after being targeted by would-be assassin with scoped AK-47 just a few hundred yards away while the ex-pres played golf. And now we've come to find out this was not, in fact, an AK-47. We'll get to that. It is a rifle that replaced the AK-47 called an SKS, is what they actually have identified it as. That said, AK-47 is not very effective at ranges really up over 200-300 yards. It's just, they're not. It's just that the bullet starts to tumble pretty quickly. Now, the SKS is supposedly good up to 400 and something. I've actually got some documentation way the hell down here that shows that. It's like 440 yards, 420 yards, something like that. So Trump was within about 500 yards, they're saying. So this rifle would have, it's not a real accurate weapon at that range. It's not horribly inaccurate. It's just not, it's not the choice of weapon. If you're going to go deer hunting at 500 yards, you would not be using this scoped weapon for that. Now, again, a lot of people are going to bring up the question, why is it a Russian weapon or originally Russian made? They make them in China and they make them all over the place now, but originally they were only a Russian made weapon. And this goes back to the World War II or almost around it. It replaced, the SKS replaced the AK, but I don't know, it goes back quite a ways. So yes, again, Donald Trump Jr. Again, folks, shot fired at Trump Golf Course in West Palm Beach, Florida. An AK-47 was discovered in the bushes. Again, it was an SKS. We'll get there. The Trump campaign has released a statement confirming former President Trump is safe. A suspect has been apprehended, which we saw. Here is some of the way they blocked off the entire area in front of Mar-a-Lago. Didn't let anyone in there, totally closed down the place. Kind of interesting. Check it out. I swear to God, I thought it was longer than that, but yeah, whoops, it can be if you play it 3 times, Dan. Yeah, no, that's not quite what we're going for. John Miller put this out. And this is, again, all the info is preliminary, but in the area of shooting, sources say they recovered a backpack and a semi-automatic rifle. Let's go ahead and play this out.
Doing this shooting. So a lot of questions in the area of the shooting. Sources say they recovered a backpack and a semi-automatic rifle. It was described as an AK-47 in the preliminary reporting, and a GoPro camera. The last piece is very interesting because it suggests, if there was such a camera there, that this individual may have wanted to record himself in a first person doing this shooting. So a lot of questions to be answered. Is the suspect, they have the right person? Is that the right car? The weapon that they have has to be processed for evidence and ballistics. If there's video on that camera, if in fact it was recovered as we are told, what will that tell them? But that is what we are seeing right now in the area of the.
Yeah, so again, it's a lot of stuff was building. A lot of very weird stuff was also put out. This is different. Cool. Secret Service identified the direction of the shots and returned fire at the gunman who fled. Again, it seems like there was some sketchy information that was changed later on. I don't know. We'll see. Again, it's hard to know exactly what happened. It's hard to know who to trust. But again, this is kind of how it was breaking and how the information sort of rolled out.
So, I mean, I'll caveat this with this is unfolding rapidly, so all of this information is preliminary, and it may shift and change as we've seen before. But what we are looking at is starting to come into focus a little more sharply. So this is what we have right now from law enforcement sources who have been briefed on this, and it appears that around 2 o'clock, shots were fired at the golf course, possibly coming from the tree line while former President Trump was playing golf. The Secret Service identified the direction, and the shooter returned fire at that gunman who fled. Witnesses were able to provide a description of an individual and a vehicle. We are told that a vehicle that is close to that description has been stopped by Palm Beach County police, possibly in Martin County, just over the line, and that they are holding that individual for the purposes of identification.
So again, things building as they build. Of course, just 2 days ago, a day before the shooting, I think it was, 14th, yesterday's shooting, yeah. So Kamala Harris, just to remind everybody, first off, after saying on the debate that she wasn't going to ban weapons, that her and Tim both had weapons, not banning weapons, like 2 days, 3 days after that, she then says we need to ban assault weapons. And then a day after that, an individual with an assault weapon, call them that, but whatever, to use their words, with an SKS specifically, shows up at Trump's golf course. Now, there's some other facts that are fun, and we're going to get to those. I don't want to get ahead of myself. I pulled a lot of slides to pull a lot of info. Charlie Kirk shares this with us. Sources I spoke with informed me that the USSS advance team was scouting the holes ahead of President Trump as he was golfing. Agents spotted the suspect in the tree line in possession of a semi-automatic rifle, which they believed to be an AK-47 or similar. The agents either exchanged fire with him or else it was only the agent shooting at the suspect. This remains unclear. The suspect immediately fled into the trees and initially managed to evade agents, but was quickly apprehended, and now law enforcement has. Now, Trump in the Vance campaign put this out. Alert, I am Donald J. Trump. Fear not. I am safe and well, and no one was hurt, thank God. But there are people in this world who will do whatever it takes to stop us. I will not stop fighting for you. I will never surrender. I will always love you for supporting me. Through our unity, we will make America great again. Now, again, here is the suspect in apparent Trump assassination attempt arrested. We don't need to play it from this angle. I thought it was cool with the helicopters, but it's already plenty long in this regard. Now, this was a big deal. This was the police speaking after the man was arrested in the shooting of President Trump. I like this guy. He's actually pretty good, and I felt his answers were pretty solid. So, again, this is how it progressed.
Suspect's demeanor I would describe as having a relatively calm, flat affect. He was not displaying a lot of emotions, never asked what is this about. Obviously, law enforcement with long rifles, blue lights, a lot going on, never questioned it.
Was he armed at the time, or he or she?
He was not armed when we took him out of the car. Of course, we didn't do a search, and I would suspect that they're getting a search warrant now. The FBI will take that car. We will transport it for them back to Palm Beach County into their office.
How long was the highway locked down to, drivers on the road? Hour plus?
The I-95 is still locked down. I had to come back here driving southbound in the northbound lane where it was blocked off and then cut across. So I would tell your viewers, don't get on I-95 northbound.
Do we know? I know I had a lot of people stopping me asking if the turnpike is clear. Is that still open?
The turnpike is clear. To my knowledge, it was not involved in this incident.
Going back to the accident involving the civilians, do we know how many were in that car?
I don't have any information on the civilian crash. It's not related to the investigation, except obviously tangentially because they crashed because of the traffic stop.
Do we know, too, I know you don't have much information, but was it two civilians colliding or were they hit by a responding officer?
Yeah, your question about whether there was two, the nuances of that crash, I don't have the information, I'm sorry.
Anything else to add, Sheriff, that I haven't asked you about?
Well, we're very pleased with the cooperation we've had from the Florida Highway Patrol. Palm Beach County Sheriff's Office flew their helicopter in here to assist us, the FBI, the Secret Service. you could not ask for better interagency cooperation.
Sheriff, how did the complications after you got that bolo? How quickly do you think the Martin County Sheriff's Office was able to spot that car?
Yeah, the time between when the bolo went out and when we had the vehicle was just no time at all. I had just sat down to have my only second cup of coffee of the day, and as soon as I heard the bolo, be on the lookout, heading to Martin, I knew we'd catch the car. I set my coffee down and started getting ready to come out here, and sure enough, we got the car.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Sheriff. I really appreciate it. It's great to see you.
One of the key reasons why I share the story the way it is, because, right, it would be easier just to, Dan, why don't you just tell us what we know right now? And I could summarize a lot of this. But what's important is literally I did a show 24 hours ago, okay? And 24 hours ago, this is what's transpired since then. What's amazing is what we've figured out that quickly. So kind of go with me, if you will, please, on the progression, because when I start sharing some of this crazy-ass information that we've already come across, you're going to be like, God dang, really? We figured that out already? Yes, already. All friggin' ready. It's pretty awesome. John Snyder, the suspect in custody related to the Trump shooting incident, is a white male in his mid-60s. Already we'd figured that out, okay? So we saw him on TV, obviously. He's actually 58. Trump golf outing was last-minute decision, sources say. This is a powerful piece of information. How did this guy know to wait out here for Trump to play golf? Now, all the people on the left, the Trump derangement syndrome type people, all your MSN news people and just anyone along those lines are saying, well, Trump golfs all the time. Trump golfs often, for sure, but Trump golfs in different locations. He doesn't golf in the same place. He golfs all over the place, and it's very last minute, and he never tells anybody. And again, so how did this guy know that Trump was golfing here today? Now, I'm going to offer some things to feed your suspicion. Maybe here, maybe soon. Again, hard to organize this many friggin' stories. But Trump's outing was not planned. Trump files all of his country constantly. He goes between Bedminster and Mar-a-Lago and everywhere in between. How did Ryan Routh know Trump would be playing golf at Palm Beach Club without being told? Well, of course he was probably told. So here's the dude, again, pretty good shape. I mean, he's skinny, that's for sure. This dude's not a fatty, which makes me also think he's kind of still a soldier. Maybe a skinnier soldier, but still someone that's in great shape. So this is the dude. Fox News, suspect name is Ryan Wesley Routh. Now, interesting, we know his middle name. That's always common. But Ryan Routh got scrubbed all over the place. But you know where it seemed like he got scrubbed a little slower? X. Huh. How weird's that? Got scrubbed a teeny bit slower on X. So a lot of people were able to scrape some information from him. Now, possible Facebook appears to have just been nuked. So I don't know if people have been able to try to find it. But this dude was very pro-Ukraine, talks about how I have thousands of Afghan soldiers that wish to serve for Haiti National Police at cheap wages, thousands with passports ready to fly. I want to give Taiwan thousands of NATO-trained Afghan soldiers. This dude was all involved with putting trained soldiers into all sorts of different places that are getting close to going to war. It's almost like he's got an inside knowledge into what's happening, right? Feels like something the CIA would do, because CIA has got a very, very tight connection to Afghanistan. By the way, you know there's like next to no poppy fields anymore. If there's any, there's small numbers. They have destroyed almost all of the poppy fields. Yeah. Maybe make Afghanistan great again. Who knows? Who knows? But it is strange that this individual seems to have so many ties to all these Afghanistan individuals. I know there's been soldiers that have gone there, but I doubt they've served quite as long as the CIA. CIA has been involved with Afghanistan since back in the 80s when they were fighting Russia. We've been involved with them for a very long time. So that's weird. So we got some screenshots from his prior accounts. I just showed, thousands of, we talked about that one. Let's see what this one is. He talks about how he lives in Hawaii. Soldiers, please do not call me, yada, yada. So he's still talking a lot of that soldier talk. Here's him typing in, I guess, whatever they speak in Afghanistan. And forgive me for not knowing what language it is. We currently need Afghan Special Forces soldiers that speak perfect English. Send me your passport. Why does it need to be perfect English? Huh. That's all weird. He also puts his phone number in there, which, just for anyone who's paying attention. maybe pause it for a second. I know somebody that called it. I don't recommend calling it, by the way. I guarantee you will be flagged. I guarantee you will end up in a database. I guarantee you it's a bad idea. But can't stop everybody. They don't want to call, but I guarantee that government's watching that phone number. 100% guarantee. So here he's got some Palestine stuff. This guy was obviously against all the people that that the deep state is against, right? So China's newest round of biological warfare. This guy's just all over it. All over helping Taiwan, helping Ukraine, helping everybody, right? So interesting, again, all over the place, whatever language that is. So son of alleged would-be assassin, I like this, Ryan Wesley Routh, says his dad hates Trump like all reasonable people, but he's never owned a gun and wouldn't do anything batshit crazy. I'm going to tell you, son of Ryan Wesley Routh, you don't seem to know your father very well. Is he estranged? Are you guys not that close? I don't know. Here we know little so far, but with alleged Trump shooters' personal and public participation in military activity in Ukraine, it is hard to imagine this White House agencies can claim zero contact, clean hands. Something of an Oswald vibe here. Congress should get answers. And this was Edward Snowden that put this out. I 100% agree. This just smells in all sorts of wrong ways. And he's the individual, possibly a CIA trained, if not CIA current individual that may very well have been involved with inside information about Trump's schedule, with a Russian weapon or a weapon that would very easily be able to be blamed on Russia. Very easy. Or Iran, or whoever. Stinks to high heaven. Stinks to high heaven. What time did Snowden put this out? September 15th, so it was still yesterday, and it was 4:27 p.m. It was like an hour after about 4 or 5 posts ago. This is how fast the speed of information is moving. 5G warfare, folks. It's happening very quickly. Technofog put this out. The political donations of would-be assassin Ryan Wesley Routh, all to the Democrats. Something in common with the last shooter. Everything. One, he's not employed either, but he's had a number of businesses. We'll get into those. But he political donations all through Act Blue, which is also interesting because we know there's all sorts of funny shenanigans going on with Act Blue. All small amounts, nothing big. Dude supposedly doesn't have a job, so what are you going to do, right? But all for Democrat candidates. All of it. So obviously not some sort of crazy right-wing guy like they wish. Now, he was owner at Camp Box. Why did I share this? Why did we open this one? Oh, there's more here. Okay, this would-be assassin has been identified again as Ryan Routh. I just peeked at his account, and he is a Bernie Democrat. No. And quite fan of Ukraine. Yeah, so we got his LinkedIn accounts with Ukraine flags. That's what this is, LinkedIn. So again, hardcore on that whole thing. Heavily brainwashed them as expected or part of the propaganda. I mean, I'm not saying he is. I'm not trying to insinuate that he is. I'm just saying there's so many weird connections. Either the CIA influenced him with MK Ultra or something more current, because MK Ultra is super old, so they're doing something way different nowadays, or he's been directly involved in all this. And again, his knowledge of the soldier stuff in Afghanistan specifically, that just kind of smells of somebody that's CIA. That's all I can say. Not somebody that's been MK Ultra, but someone that's literally in the CIA and American, trying to shoot a would-be president. Donald Trump Jr. posted this. Sounds like the psychopath spends a lot of time watching left-wing propaganda. He shows this Tulsi Gabbard post his post at Tulsi Gabbard, Ryan Routh, said, "You are an idiot. Why you don't go and join Putin and Trump and be their third leg? Please leave my Hawaii. You embarrass me. Shut your stupid mouth. This is a war where people are getting slaughtered for no reason. I am going to fight and die for Ukraine." Again, people getting slaughtered for no reason. What's the reason of fighting in Ukraine? Because, what? Russia's going to go trampsing through Europe like they've never even shown any interest in doing? Or NATO encroaching on Russia and actually trying to cause a problem there? That sounds more likely, because that's what's been happening since Bush Jr. I'm sorry. I mean, I'm going to call a spade a spade. I don't think necessarily Putin's someone that, I don't think he'd have my back if I went into a brawl with him, but, I wouldn't attack him, that's for sure. Did I already open this one? Yes. They all look the same. All right, here. Oh, this is kind of interesting. This sheriff, this guy, I don't know. I liked his answers too. Again, a lot going on. Information coming out as it's coming out. People like us taking that and running. Oh, it's been fun.
Sheriff, did this individual make any statements as he was being detained?
No statement right now as far as his involvement in the incident, and there's further investigation to be completed.
What was his demeanor like?
Yeah, I'm not sure if maybe the Secret Service gentleman answered. I misunderstood, or I couldn't quite understand. So there was a rifle. So one of your agents saw on the golf course saw a rifle pointing to a fence. Was it a chain link? Okay, so he saw that, the agent.
That is correct. Yes.
And the president or the former president was on the course behind him. How close?
It was 1 or 2 holes behind. That because the bubble moves through the golf course, so our agents will get there first, clear it. He noticed that the rifle was pointed out. Our agents engaged. We are not sure right now if the individual was able to take a shot at our agents, but for sure our agents were able to engage with the subject. I don't know that.
Doesn't appear so.
Is there more?
Yep.
How far away was the president? How far away was Donald Trump when this gentleman was caught and stopped?
I got it. Okay. Probably between 300 and 500 yards, but with a rifle and a scope like that, that's not a long distance.
For the Secret Service, how far was your agent from the would-be assailant?
That I'm not sure right now. We're still looking into that.
Reports of the 4 rounds of ammunition were fired. Were all 4 of those from your agent?
That is correct. 4 to 6. We're not sure yet.
Was there a long distance? Explain why.
Yes.
And
Yes, ma'am.
WPF 25, I was wondering what how this was able to happen, and for future reference, is there any up security in the golf course?
I didn't hear all that. Say that one more time and talk up a little bit.
So how was this able to happen, and for future reference, is there any up security in the golf course?
Well, you got to understand the golf course is surrounded by shrubbery. So when somebody gets into the shrubbery, they're pretty much out of sight. All right. And at this level that he is at right now, he's not the sitting president. If he was, we would have had this entire golf course around it. But because he's not, the security is limited to the areas that the Secret Service deems possible. So I would imagine that the next time he comes to the golf course, there'll probably be a little bit more people around the perimeter. But the Secret Service did exactly what they should have done. They provided exactly what the protection should have been, and their agent did a fantastic job.
Now, the worst part, and I'm sure Trump's saying this, I'm sure he's saying this, and I feel it. I'm going to say it for him, right? Worst part, people are going to say, Trump, you shouldn't golf anymore. That's what they're going to say. I don't agree, because I feel like you got to let the dude works his ass off. There's got to be a way to allow this dude to exist, you know? JD Vance posted this: I'm glad President Trump is safe. I spoke to him before the news was public, and he was amazingly in good spirits. Still much we don't know, but I'll be hugging my kids extra tight tonight and saying a prayer of gratitude. Amen to that. Election Wizard posted this: breaking news, Eric Prince, founder of the private security firm Blackwater, calls on Florida Governor Ron DeSantis to immediately assume control of the investigation into the second Trump assassination attempt. He adds, the feds have dropped the ball thoroughly on Butler, Pennsylvania. Time for Florida to save the day. Interestingly, I think we've got, hopefully this is it, I've got the story about DeSantis is, in fact, there it is. Oh my God. Said the state of Florida will be conducting its own investigation regarding the attempted assassination at Trump International Golf Club. The people deserve the truth about the would-be assassin and how he was able to get within 500 yards of the former president and current GOP nominee. I'm having some really weird, funky stuff happening with my computer right now. It's kind of tripping me out. A little bit. Kind of wondering who's paying attention, because we're getting so over the target. Oh, so over the target. Tristan Leavitt posted this. This article details some of the whistleblower's disclosures our client made about the political bias of the FBI official, Jeffrey Veltri, who is now the special agent in charge of the FBI's Miami field office and spoke at today's press conference. So there's a bunch of disclosures about this guy and how much he maybe dislikes Trump. Again, inside, people being moved into positions where they can affect things specifically. And Tristan reposted regarding his comment. Veltri was also the deputy assistant director of the FBI's security division when it used to be the so-called Trump questionnaire. And so they used to ask people if they liked Trump or didn't like Trump. That was a big deal, and he was part of that when they were doing that. So this dude's recently, to my understanding, been moved to the Miami field office, which would of course be the one that would be looking out for Trump or storming his Mar-a-Lago to steal more documents or whatever. So interesting now that we've got this weird little slightly tainted FBI. Jordan Sather posted some very interesting stuff about this dude, his employment history. Also, Alex Soros, I am grateful that Donald Trump is safe. Political violence is never acceptable, and we must all stand united against it. You know, whenever Soros comes out and says something like that, it was because he was behind the attempt that just failed. Because we've seen him post the thing with the $47, bullet holes in the glass, or a bullet hole in the glass. Alex is sending a message, unquestionably, and doesn't care who sees it. Now, what Jordan says, and it's pretty awesome, Ryan Routh was the registered agent for a few businesses: United Roofing, United Network, United Finance and Leasing. In his fake-ass virtue signaling post, Alex Soros says we must stand united against political violence. United? Code? We know Soros has to make veiled coded assassination Trump's threats. We've talked about that. What if these united businesses of Routh's were being used to launder some of the Ukrainian aid money? Now we might be getting somewhere closer to the truth, right? Maybe this was a laundering thing, maybe not huge, maybe so. But if this was, probably how Routh was able to afford to pay the recruits he was trying to gather through his fight for Ukraine. Where was he getting all that money from? I wonder if Routh was connected to some of these bigger deep state players somehow. That would make sense. How else did he know that Trump was golfing on a day that Trump wasn't going to be golfing? We'll talk about it. It's coming. No idea where it's at, but it's in here. James Woods posted this. Wait, yeah. I'm doing it right. James Woods posted this. We have two candidates campaigning for the presidency of the United States. The Secret Service employs 3,200 special agents, 1,300 uniformed division officers, and 2,000 others. And yet, two armed assassins have been within a few hundred yards of one of those candidates. And then General Flynn posted, smells really bad, doesn't it, James? The new SS director should resign tomorrow morning first thing. Are we slowly removing the bad apples? Are we possibly getting ourselves to the place where we might see a good bunch? We'll see. Now, initially, I looked up the AK-47 because everyone was asking about it. But how far can you shoot it accurately? At long distances, they're saying basically beyond 300 to 400 meters, it tends to decrease in accuracy significantly. So it's not a real accurate weapon from that standpoint. It's a really good, reliable weapon. I mean, you about drag it through the mud and thing will still fire. But it is not an accurate weapon to larger ranges, especially 300 to 500 yards, like supposedly the shooting happened. Now, what we did find out somewhere is that it was an SKS rifle, is what we know. SKS rifle replaced the AK-47. It was the replacement rifle for it. It's got a large history, long history. They basically love it. It's supposedly a really good gun, all in all. Again, not hugely accurate. In fact, we've got the specifics down here. Range and accuracy. The SKS rifle is effective at firing at ranges of about 440 yards. Its muzzle velocity is about 2,400 feet per second, which is really fast. I want to say that's really close to what my AR is, I think. But the chrome-plated barrel extends to 20 inches, yada, yada. So again, just not necessarily, 440 yards, it's a better choice than an AK, that's for sure. It might work. But still, at 500 yards and 300 yards, maybe. If you practiced a lot, you probably. I guess it's hard to get what do they call it, matched rounds, and matched rounds are essentially rounds that are identical. So what that means is if you're someone that's shooting and you need that grouping to be as perfectly tight as possible, like it's no longer you anymore, now it's the weapon itself is causing the inaccuracy. You try to get matched rounds, which means they were basically made side by side, have the exact same number of grains, like the exact same amount of powder. I also say grains because the powder is also grainy, but I know when they say grains, they're referring to the weight of the bullet, essentially. But they're identical. And so that way they perform identical, right? And then it's just an issue of humidity, air pressure, wind, all those kinds of things, temperature of your barrel, all that kind of stuff. Trump golf course gunman Ryan Wesley Routh's chilling social media post surface, as it is revealing he was arrested in 2002 for having weapons of mass destruction. Yes. He was on the FBI's probe for sure, or FBI's radar. Maybe that's why he started working for the CIA, because they're like, you know how to make this crap? We need you working for us, or you're going to jail forever. And that's usually what they do to people that have real skills that get busted. Hackers, I know somebody that became high security at a number of major companies. He got busted doing something similar. Like, I think the thing he got busted for, he was doing a bunch of crazy stuff, but what he actually got in trouble for was removing his mom's cable bill forever. He just got free cable, and they eventually figured it out, and that's actually what got him busted out of all things. It's pretty funny. Needless to say, this dude's a mess. He's a mess. Weapons of mass destruction back in 2002. So yeah, this dude's he is in great shape. Like I said, he's a soldier. He knows what he's doing. He was even smiling when he was being arrested. He's not afraid of where he's at. In fact, he's one of two things, and he probably knows it. Either A, they're going to kill me, or B, they're going to get me out. We'll see. FBI agent had to erase public vitriol on Trump. So this Mar-a-Lago field office jurisdiction, this is that guy again, I think. I probably should have had this over in that other place, but it is what it is. Yeah, Mr. Veltri. Before they could move him down there, he literally had to have staff go through his social media accounts and remove every single posting that he was critical of Trump, and there were many. Before they could move him, they had to do that because they know how we are. This is what we're finding out about the guy that they put in charge of the area where Trump lives in the FBI. Do you think Trump feels safer? No, he knows what he's up against, folks. He's not stupid. So the Ryan Routh story is giving me the okay. Let me see if I can just let's play it. It's probably good.
The Texas jury saw and heard key evidence Monday, the recorded confession of Eddie Ray Routh in the killing of Navy SEAL Chris Kyle and his friend Chad Littlefield 2 years ago.
Good morning. Prosecutors used Routh's own words against him as the jury heard him admit several times to killing the two men and later heard him apologize to their families. Following his arrest, Eddie Ray Routh, still in handcuffs, was interviewed by a Texas Ranger in this interrogation room. Navy SEAL Chris Kyle and his friend Chad Littlefield had taken the veteran, allegedly suffering from post-traumatic stress disorder, to a shooting range earlier in the day. The tape was played for jurors, but the judge is not allowing the audio to be released to the media. He told his interrogator after meeting Kyle and Littlefield, "I imagine they're headhunters trying to hunt everybody down." He says the man he shot first was Kyle, the one he could clearly identify. "If I did not take down his soul, he was going to take down mine."
He believed that he had to pull the trigger, that it was his life or theirs.
Routh admits to shooting the two men, but has pleaded not guilty by reason of insanity. On the witness stand Monday, the ranger who interviewed Routh told jurors he stated that he knew it was wrong to kill them, that he wished he hadn't done it, that if he could apologize to the families, he would. Asked if he knows the difference between right and wrong, Routh responded, "Yes, sir." Asked what he'd say to the families of the men he killed, he said, "I would tell them I'm so sorry for what I've done." The confession also included rambling statements that were more difficult to decipher. "The warlords aren't very happy with me. I've got tons of people eating on my soul right now."
In the interrogation video, Routh asked if his parents had arrived at the police station. He said, quote, "I'd like to see them, at least talk to my mom one last time."
So American Sniper, just to say, it was done by a guy named Ryan Routh. Call it a coincidence that's the same last name, right? I'm sure. probably not related or anything, even first, second cousin standpoint. Who knows? It's very strange. Almost wonder if Routh's like Smith or whatever, right? Like whenever the CIA, it's always, Mr. Smith, Brad Smith, James Smith, Jeff Smith. It's always, some random weird last name that's, plain Jane. Here we are. Maybe Routh is one of those names. Who knows? Ryan Wesley Routh, suspect in apparent assassination attempt of Trump, faces federal firearm charges. That's what they busted him for. Federal firearm charges. He, again, had a felony for possessing weapons of mass destruction. And so, yeah, he can't own a weapon. Yet he had a weapon. Now, many are freaking out about that, but frankly, without having the full investigation, the dude could have gotten out because they didn't know what to charge him on. So they charged him with something that was obvious, something that they could keep him in jail, at least for now, while they investigate this further. And again, he shouldn't have had a weapon. So, and for many reasons, he seems like he would actually try to shoot somebody. In fact, we're finding out that he supposedly hunkered down in there for about 12 hours. Made a little sniper's nest in there. That's kind of interesting because it takes a very, very interesting type of individual that can sit there for 12 hours and not really cause a commotion, right? That's hard to do. I don't think I could make it more than 40 minutes. I'd be like, I got to get up and walk around. This is stupid. I ain't doing this. So, man suspected in the apparent assassination attempt against Donald Trump faces federal gun charges. This is what they busted him on. All right, there you go. Big whoop. Colin Rugg put this out. Martin County Sheriff Will Snyder suggests would-be Trump assassin Ryan Routh could be part of a bigger conspiracy during a press conference. Let's listen to this.
The lone gunman, President Trump is that much safer because we have him. But if he's part of a conspiracy, then this whole thing really takes on a very ominous tone.
Sheriff, did he have any, to your knowledge, any ties to Martin County or the Treasure Coast?
Yeah, to my knowledge, does he have any ties to Martin County?
I hate how they repeat videos. It bugs. I had to put a pause there so I could find it and edit. Trump assassination attempt suspect laughs, smiles during his first court appearance. And part of that, they want you to be pissed off about it, but it is what it is. The guy's either crazy or he knows what's up. 4686, Q post. Interesting. Just funny little quinky dink. It's not necessarily the date, though it's close. Off by 2 days. Equal justice under the law as written. Transparency, disclosure, and accountability, justice, is the only way forward. Future of our republic is at stake. Watergate times 1,000. September 14th through the 18th, 21st through the 25th. We're in these windows right now. Trump got shot, what was it, the 14th, right? 15th, yesterday. So we're in that window, 14th to 15th. What happens in this next window? Anything? Something? Is there more coming in this window? Again, drslikesgold.com. Folks, I don't know what else we can say. I know not all you guys have retirement, but it's just get out of that damn system. Recent documents indicate that Ryan Routh, the individual suspected in the assassination attempt on Trump, was concealed near the tree line of a golf course for almost 12 hours prior to his detection. That's crazy. During the investigation, law enforcement also discovered a publicly viewable Facebook post from on or about July 10th, 2024, in which Routh directed his followers to contact him with instant messaging application WhatsApp at the following number, which we've shared earlier. That's a T-Mobile number, and that Routh is a subscriber. Well, agents requested T-Mobile on an emergency basis to provide law enforcement with information pertaining to Routh's mobile phone usage. Those records indicated that Routh's mobile phone was located in the vicinity of the area along the tree line described above from approximately 1:59 a.m. until approximately 1:31 p.m. on September 15th, 2024. Now, if he's remotely smart, just without doing a whole lot and having to, get in on a ghillie suit and sit there in the bushes all day, he might very easily be able to figure out if Trump's actually golfing. But again, the question, how did he know? How did he know? How did he know? We'll get there. I'm teasing it kind of accidentally, only because I actually thought it was coming up, but it's probably in this vitriol section. Oh, here it is. That works. How did he know? Well, a hunch. Again, I said I was just going to throw out a theory that's going around right now. But this is a pretty solid theory. Do you know who has pretty good intelligence about where Trump is and his plane and his entourage are at all times? Do you know who invests a lot of time, money, personnel, and resources into predicting Trump's current and future movements? It's obvious when you think about it. All it takes is just a handful of fanatics who hate Trump this much. But when you think about, for those of you that can't see the screen, when you think about who probably knows, CNN, Wall Street Journal, New York Times, Huffington Post, right? Drudge Report, Politico, Reuters, Bloomberg, you get it. There's a bunch on here. A bunch. CNN expert, we're going to find this guy is extremely politically motivated and that he was spurred by much of the political diatribes. Yeah, that's exactly what we found out, didn't we?
It says that he's not... First, he's not suicidal, apparently. He wasn't going to take his own life if he was almost being captured. Clearly, we saw that he was captured without that. And it tells me that he's probably much more politically motivated. The last shooter in Pennsylvania, I don't want to say his name because I don't want to promote him in any way, but he was clearly a guy that was looking for the notoriety of taking that shot. I would think we're going to find that this guy's extremely politically motivated and that he probably was spurred on by much of the political diatribes that are going on these days, talking about Trump, equating him to Hitler and things like that. So I don't think this is the last we'll see of crazies out there trying to do this.
Nope, it's not. And again, it's not the people on the right, because we're not triggered emotionally like this. These people are. Paul Sperry shared this. The TDS rhetoric calling Trump Hitler and a potential dictator has got to stop, warned former FAA security agent and 911 or 9/11 whistleblower Brian Sullivan. If not, they're intentionally trying to get him killed. And they are. By bringing it up, by constantly doing that, they want somebody to do this. That's why they do it. It's why it's not good to talk about stuff like that in the public. Like, all sorts of, like when Tucker Carlson and all them were talking about Trump's going to be assassinated months before they actually tried the first time in Butler, Pennsylvania. I didn't really try to get on that too much. I mentioned it a couple times, but like it was mentioned by some people every day. That's because they're trying to create it. They may not know it or they may know it, whatever the case is. Sometimes people's subconsciouses are not working on our team, right? They might be nice people when you talk to them, but they keep doing questionable things. Hakeem Jeffries posted this out. Extreme MAGA Republicans are the party of a national abortion ban in Trump's Project 2025. We must stop them. Interesting words. I get it. He didn't say anything horribly crazy, and you can't exactly ask them not to say stuff, but very interesting. Elon Musk posted this. They have actively encouraged people to kill Trump. Reid Hoffman said to the whole audience at Sundance that he wished Trump would be, quote, real martyr, i.e. a dead IRL. Dead, I don't know what an IRL is. Dead person, whatever the case is. Reid Hoffman is saying this. And they're telling us we're the ones that we need to bring it back, right? We need to come down, as my girlfriend would say. I was like, what? Come down? I'm not any. She's like, come down, relax. I'm like, calm down. Oh, shit. Thought you were saying something else. It's fun how it works. Dan Scavino Jr. posted this. This is in regards to Vice President Kamala Harris. She posted, let's do it right. I have been briefed on reports of gunshots fired near former President Trump and his property in Florida, and I am glad he is safe. Violence has no place in America. And Dan Scavino Jr. is like, you are so full of shit. You're not glad he's safe. It's your rhetoric that has caused this again. Yeah, everybody sees it. Everybody knows. Well, except for the few crazies that are out there. Here's some clips from, I guess, all over the place. These are from one show, I guess, but one show about an hour on MSNBC from a few months ago. Watch until the end. They start talking about Hitler. Again, this is the rhetoric. This is a good example.
It's not just that Donald Trump poses a threat to democracy. It's that Donald Trump only cares about himself. This is a populist looking to serve his own interest and harm other people and dismantle our democracy and make it just about himself. This is a guy who's doing it on behalf of Putin.
Do you think Trump cares about any of his supporters?
I think he's only ever cared about himself.
He's still a greasy pig.
He's still a greasy pig.
He said that a hallmark of strongman leaders is they don't care about their followers. Loathes Donald Trump. Things like a lunatic and a criminal, someone corrupt who's bankrupted people. That the goal for all...
Okay, real quick. I hate her hair. I hate it. I don't normally say hate, but I hate your hair, sweetheart. I don't hate it. I loathe it, but whatever.
Of us to save our republic has to be to keep Donald Trump far away, make sure he never gets anywhere near the Oval Office again.
The threat that Donald Trump is to this nation.
Cult of authoritarian personality in league with autocrats and kleptocrats and dictators all over the world. Everybody has to follow Donald Trump like a monarch. That's what the election is going to be about. Democracy and freedom versus dictatorship and authoritarianism.
We want to remain a democracy, but do we want to take this hard turn into an autocracy and taking direct aim at our democracy? There are autocratic-leaning remarks he has made in recent weeks and months, such as ones that echo Hitler.
Extreme measures taken to fundamentally change the course of the country, or we're all going to die. Trying to get rid of the form of government that we have and install something else.
To the degree that the country's in any decline, it is the threat of a second Trump term. America becoming a threat, which is what it becomes, a threat to the world order if Trump is reelected, is a known, to quote Don Rumsfeld. America can survive one Trump term. It won't survive a second.
It was a primary, didn't work out to oust Donald Trump. There was a chance for leaders like Mitch McConnell to literally have Donald Trump barred from ever holding federal office again. They didn't do it. The Republican Party will not save us here. We cannot wait for the Republican Party to wake up. Nothing is going to happen inside the Republican Party other than efforts to get Donald Trump what he wants, which is to get rid of our form of government. The only way the country gets saved is if Republicans. Our project of the Republican Party is to install a strongman form of government in the United States and get rid of democracy. And that is the project of electing Donald Trump. What we've learned from history is that no, there isn't a magic bullet. The courts don't save you. No individual institution saves you. All that stuff. Hitler in 1933 was talking about his designs on America. And Hitler described you could get Americans to give up their own democracy and to be ready for a fascist takeover. Haunting. And that's what Hitler himself explained. He part of the Hitlerian conspiracy for Americans getting rid of their democracy. And this stuff doesn't change. It's the same playbook. It's a disaster. We need extreme measures. I mean, it's just that simple.
Adam Kinzinger was just tweeting about Trump's speech. He said he'll be gone in a year. But what do you do about all the people that are now conditioned to have an appetite and hunger for a strong man?
Donald Trump was mulling whether our national abortion ban was going to be 15 weeks or 16
He's looking for a number he likes.
He likes
16 because it's
sounds round. Some of the most fundamental decisions you will ever make in your life, with massive relational consequences, massive consequences, intergenerational consequences for your family, huge economic consequences. The basic freedoms of your life should be decided by Donald Trump deciding which number he thinks looks prettier when it's embroidered on a hat.
We are fighting evil. No question about it. And holding the line is about standing strong for something. If you don't stand for anything, you'll fall for, right? If you don't stand for something, you'll fall for anything, is where we're all at. And the one side, they point fingers at us and say what's happening to them. 3 fingers pointing back at them. You always know what's going on with them. They broadcast it. They tell you. Just pay attention to how they blame you. Whatever they point their finger at and claim that you are, there you go. Now you know what they are. That is how this works. You see in others what you most dislike about yourself. It's actually an ancient piece of knowledge for any of you. Remember that. You see in others what you most like or dislike about yourself. If it's not something that's inside of you, you almost never notice it because you don't know what to look for, right? Think of anybody that's had an addiction, for example. You can spot an addiction in someone, can't you? Yes. Yes, because you know addiction. If someone doesn't know addiction, they don't know, do they? No. There you go. That's my best proof. And then people in the audience that have never been addicted to anything, sorry, you probably don't understand. I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. Come on. Don't be mean. This was posted, Anderson Cooper. He aired fake information. Well, by the way, just to finish the round thought here, the fact that they keep talking about him being Hitler and he's destroying democracy, he's destroying everything, he's destroying. Same thing they do with the climate change. Climate's going to kill you. Climate's going to kill you. Climate's going to kill you. It's all they do. Wah, constantly shoving it down these people's throats. I don't know what you can do. Again, it's that, I don't know, I can't remember who the person's name is, but the one where you see the shadows on the wall, right? And the people that are actually outside in the sunlight and can see it versus even the people that realize, oh my God, there's a light? Oh, what? That's a shadow. Oh, weird. Or the people even making the shadows. That is where we're at. This is a change on a global level. I wish people could understand and appreciate that too. This is not just a political thing. This presidency represents either the dark wins or the light wins. And Trump is the guy that's representing the light. And I don't mean Lucifer, but I mean God, Christ's golden white light. The light. The light that's, poltergeist that told you to go into it. It's where God is, supposedly. It's what everyone says when they near-death experiences and stuff. I don't know if you guys have ever read about that. So here's CNN talking about information that's incorrect. And again, it's Anderson Cooper. I don't know. He should have caught this, but he didn't, because it's obvious that this is fake video. Fake video that Anderson Cooper shared on CNN. Let's try.
11 ceremonies, despite having posted a video claiming...
Do you see how ginormous they made him? That ain't Trump. Holy crap. They didn't even bother to make his arms fat, because if he was that friggin' fat, he'd have some majorly fat arms. Come on, anyone of you guys that's that fat, look at your arms. Am I wrong? No. Anderson Cooper put that out. Biden says Secret Service needs more help after apparent Trump assassination. I'd play it, but you can't really understand him because of the stupid helicopter noise in the background. I've always wondered about that. But Biden says Secret Service needs more help. Now they want to go to Congress. Congress needs to give more money. So is this how they're trying to get money now? Are they, am I wrong? Or does it sound like they're running around giving like $5 BJs in the Walmart parking lot, right? Like, I need money. I don't know. I don't need, no, I'm not a junkie. It's like, what is going on with you? What are you doing? What, we got to get you some more money for the Secret Service? Is that what's going on? Have you stolen it from... Or stolen? What's the way they spell it wrong? Like the bread, I guess. But really, like, what is going on? Now Congress needs to give us more money. Are you shitting me? Get out of Dodge. That's ridiculous. Here's Dan Bongino. I don't know. He's Dan Bongino, Secret Service. I want to hear his take. I haven't listened to it yet because I want to kind of experience it with you. So here's 4 minutes of Dan Bongino. I'll probably go 1.2 speed.
I'm going to ask you again. We got the most threatened man on earth, Donald Trump. Not even close. I'm going to ask some questions now, some uncomfortable ones. Where were the counter-sniper assets? If they were there, what were they doing? Remember the whistleblower memo from counter-sniper? The counter-sniper guy? Well, I know who he is. He's a good man. Saying, we don't have enough guys to cover this. You're going to get someone hurt? Sorry, I don't want to miss this. Folks, where were the counter-sniper assets to take out a sniper who, again, infiltrated the mid to outer perimeter? Where? Folks, from what we know of early reporting, this guy did not have a ghillie suit on. Do you know what a ghillie suit is? A ghillie suit is a camouflage disguise, which is nearly impossible to pick out. If this subject was sitting in the woodline with a ghillie suit and hadn't poked out the barrel of his rifle, we may be having a different conversation today. Folks, you can get a ghillie suit probably on Amazon or somewhere else, I would guess for a couple $100, maybe less. You think the Iranians aren't thinking of this right now? Where were the counter-sniper assets? Were they not given enough? Where were the counter-surveillance teams? The counter-surveillance teams, these units prowl around the perimeter. Their sole purpose is to find cars that don't belong. Where did this guy park? How did he walk in with a rifle to the fence line? How did nobody see him? How come there were no post standers at each hole? Where was the CSU team? Is anyone in the media going to stop with the victory laps and ask questions? That's your freaking job. If it was President Biden, God forbid, you'd be interviewing this guy's kindergarten teacher right now. Oh, there, look, a ghillie suit right there. How much is it, guys? This is real. They just found this in the seconds. Here's a ghillie suit for adult XL, $25. On sale, folks. Imagine him in a ghillie suit. Would have been smarter. President Trump be dead right now. How did they not see him? Can we stop with the bullshit victory laps, please? How does Ron Routh still have a job? Where were the CSU teams? Where were the optics, the surveillance optics? Now, granted, it was not, was it like 90 plus yesterday in Florida? Thermal imagery may not be helpful in a really hot day, but I'd rather have it than not. Where were the thermals? Where was the forward-looking infrared? Where was the drone surveillance? How did you miss this guy? Thermals or IR should have caught this guy sticking out like that. You're telling me again, for the second time, protective intelligence teams, that basically are roaming around, counter surveillance teams, counter sniper teams, drone assets, and nobody detected this guy again? He had time to set up, clip a couple ceramic ballistic plates to a fence, set up a GoPro, and sit on the president's position? Where's the helicopter surveillance? Oh, Dan, they don't use that. Actually, we do. It's got its own code name, which I'll leave out. How come President Trump doesn't have it? All the time. The helicopter with a FLIR would have picked this guy out like that. How come they didn't? The answer is because the asset wasn't there. That's why.
It bugs me to share the ghillie suit, $25 too. That's wow. It's probably a crap ass suit, but whatever the case is, it would work at least, as a cheap one off. But it bugs me that it's being shared, kind of. I guess these are things that the old radio brain of me, like what they teach you in the get your FCC license. Back in the day, I had to actually get myself licensed. Nowadays, it's the station itself, so it's a little different. But yeah, it's like you don't do that. You're not supposed to do that. It's kind of weird. So Green Lives Matter posted this. Why does this all seem so connected? BlackRock shorts Trump stock, gambling on his demise. This was the first assassination attempt. So BlackRock shorted his stock. They knew there was something. Again, drslikesgold.com. drslikesgold.com. They know what's happening. You're the last one that's going to benefit from it. All the rich people are going to get richer, and then the rest of us, oh, sorry, we couldn't get out in time. You lost money. So Trump assassination attempt by a kid with overshore accounts appeared in BlackRock commercial. He was. That's kind of weird. BlackRock's buying Ukrainian farmland and benefiting from the war. CrowdStrike servers blackout. Trump schedules call with Zelensky the same exact day. Trump claimed CrowdStrike was hiding servers in Ukraine before the impeachment sham. Trying to stop the call, maybe? Second Trump assassination attempt was carried out by a man who fought in Ukraine, made $3,000 a month, yet traveled around recruiting soldiers on his own supposed dime. If Trump wins the election, both he and RFK Jr. have claimed the military-industrial money complex train will halt. Who wants him dead? Same person that killed John F. Kennedy. This started then. He was the first person, I guess, that thought he could pull it off. I don't think anyone realized how big a monster they were fighting until John F. Kennedy. And so then they went into hiding. Not hiding, but quiet planning. Very careful planning. And I'll tell you one thing I've learned. It is hard to know who's a good person and who's not. You see a lot of people, they talk a lot of good talk, but some people are actually, I don't want to say possessed, but it's the easiest way to explain it. I mean, there's a lot of ways, attachments and all sorts of different things you can call it, but whatever. People, their souls just seem to be somewhat like, there's times where you watch them and they do weird stuff. You're like, what was that? That was weird, right? But normally they're fine. They're nice. They know, but every once in a while there's this, I don't know. And that's the thing that's tough to know about people. A lot can be said when you look in someone's eyes, but not always. Donald J. Trump, the rhetoric, lies as exemplified by the false statements made by Comrade Kamala Harris during the rigged and highly partisan ABC debate, and all of the ridiculous lawsuits specifically designed to inflict damage on Joe's, then Kamala's political opponent, me, has taken politics in our country to a whole new level of hatred, abuse, and distrust. Because of this communist left rhetoric, the bullets are flying, and it will only get worse. Allowing millions of people from places unknown to invade and take over our country is an unpardonable sin. Our borders must be closed, and the terrorists, criminals, and mentally insane immediately removed from American cities and towns, deported back to their countries of origin. We want people to come into our country, but they must love our nation and come in legally and through a system of merit. The world is laughing at us fools. They are stealing our jobs and our wealth. We cannot let them laugh any longer. Make America great again. We got some, after the assassination attempt, right? We've got some comprehensive whistleblower reports on the multiple failures of the Secret Service and Department of Homeland Security, including new allegations and numerous unanswered questions due to the United States Secret Service stonewalling. Josh Hawley put this out. Just like they use things to try to get rid of guns or try to get rid of your rights? Well, we're using things to try to get to the hearts and minds of the sleeping masses still here. Some on the Democrat Party, a bunch on the Democrat Party, some on the Republican Party. But we're trying to get people to wake up. It's not too late. If people wake up, mend their ways, and make a new choice and step forward and show different actions, because it's the most important form of manifesting. What you think, what you say, what you do. What you do is the most important. It's the most powerful. What you think matters, but not that much. You have to think a lot to make any sort of power. What you say matters because it's actually a spoken word, and that's actually pretty powerful, believe it or not. But what you do is the most powerful thing you can do. It is you demonstrating to the universe and everyone else who and what you are. Your demonstrations matter more than anything when it comes to what you're going to experience in your own life. Some could call it judgment, but it's just karma, wheel of karma. What you send out comes back. I don't know. U.S. Attorney General Merrick Garland vowed on Monday to deploy every available resource into the probe of the latest assassination attempt against former President Donald Trump. We are grateful that the former president is safe. We will work tirelessly to ensure accountability, and we will bring every available resource to bear in this investigation. Hey, Merrick Garland, here's the funny thing. Just, 2 months ago, Donald Trump was assassination attempt and actually was shot that time. And we still don't know anything. So when you say we'll bring every available resource to bear into this investigation, well, what that means is fucking nothing. Nothing. You're full of shit. You haven't done anything with the Butler, Pennsylvania thing. Nothing. And you've got the same leadership that's now allowed it to happen again. Nothing has changed. Merrick Garland, you friggin' homo. Nothing's changed. I don't know why I called you a homo. You're probably not gay. Maybe you are. I don't know. Doesn't matter. So yeah, here's Biden. This is the same inner thing. Yeah, with the airplane and the helicopter in the background. This, I don't know why I have it twice, but yeah, there you go. Basically says we need more money from Congress, whatever. Eric Doherty put this out. Trump campaign sends out a long list of receipts of Democrats' rhetoric that inspired another attempt on president's life. The campaign laid out over 50 unique quotes and provided sources for each. Yesterday, President Trump was the target of the second assassination. Thankfully, the would-be assassin was stopped by a heroic action of law enforcement. But make no mistake, this psycho was egged on by the rhetoric and lies that have flowed from Kamala Harris, Democrats, and their fake news allies for years. Democrats used increasingly incendiary rhetoric against President Trump in the days, weeks, and months leading up to the two assassination attempts. Kamala Harris repeatedly, and there's a link that actually goes to something, Trump is a threat to our democracy and fundamental, that'd be the easy way. Which one's next? Fundamental, maybe? I don't know. Whatever. There's a crap ton of these. Maxine Waters a bunch of times. Adam Schiff, right? Maxine saying, I want to know about all of those right-wing organizations that Trump is connected with who are training up in the hills somewhere, right? All this rhetoric. We're the ones that are going to come and attack. And that's why everyone thinks it's the right. That's crazy. What's weird about that, I understand why they think that because they're being propagandized about it, but they obviously don't see any of the actual riots happening in their own cities. Like my wonderful family member that lives up in the Washington area, that lives really close to Seattle, and is just oblivious to the fact that that whole thing was a bunch of left-wing lunatics within their city that took over part of the city. They don't bring that up because it's Trump supporters that are the crazy, dangerous ones. Or the Black Lives Matter riots that happened across this country that burned down things, or the Antifa nonsense that destroyed millions of dollars and billions of dollars. Damn, who knows how much damage they've done. It's insane. Many, many millions of dollars for sure. It's all that rhetoric. All that rhetoric. The world's going to end right now because of climate. Constantly freaking people out. European Commission. This is pretty awesome. I don't know what's up with this, but France's EU commissioner. This is that Thierry Breton person, the person that was threatening Elon Musk. Yeah, they resigned. Probably because what they did was illegal. Thierry Breton resigned Bye-bye. Na, 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 na. Hey, hey, hey. Goodbye. Suck it. Top Google lawyer coached Kamala Harris for Trump debate, and tech antitrust watchdogs are crying foul. It is kind of funny because she's the lawyer for Google in this huge landmark monopoly case that's been going on, and now all of a sudden she's working behind the scenes with the establishment, soon-to-be president. They're going to try to claim it's her, trust me. But we'll get through this, guys. Overwhelming numbers. It's going to be the most important election ever. Ever. I hate voting. I voted for my first time since Ross Perot just on the last election. I haven't actually voted for president yet in the whole new thing. I'm looking forward to it. I mean, I was doing my thing. For those of you that are like, Dan, you should vote. I'm like, dude, I do a channel. Get out of here. I affect more people, I think. But I'll do my vote this time because I'm like you guys that don't want to vote. I don't want to vote. I'm going to. It's the most damn important vote ever. If you live on this planet, you have a right to vote. Don't think even if you're spiritual, you're like, well, this is their problem, not mine. No, we're all here together right now, frankly, folks. We're involved. 2 retired FDNY chiefs have been arrested for alleged corruption. Fire Department, New York. 2 of them arrested. Corruption. Mayor Eric Adams is close, buddy. I know you're the mayor. You're like the last one they want to take down. But this, my friends, is looking like a takedown. Takedown, shakedown, breakdown. Everybody wants. And what's that? Shake down. I have to sing it out to get the right words. Good song by drawing a blank on his name. Even it doesn't matter. It's a good song nonetheless. Manhattan DA's office sued for records related to Trump prosecution. Manhattan DA's office sued for records related to Trump prosecution. So America First Legal says Bragg's prosecution of Trump was political prosecution. I mean, duh, but somehow we have to get this proved. So again, New York, the nonsense going on out there needs to change, folks. So yeah, what we're finding out maybe, because Eric Trump, reposted this. It seems there might be some legs to this ABC whistleblower that was giving the information about the debate prior to the debate. Oh, that's going to be interesting if that comes to public too. So again, everything is falling apart right now for the deep state. Majorly falling apart for the deep state right now. I just want to remind you guys, you love your pets and you want them to stick around longer. One of the best ways to do that is to get them on, 1, healthier foods. So that's a major thing. But 2, the mushroom Coriolis versicolor actually helps the immune system in all sorts of ways. They've got a number of studies, over 400, that show that. It's an easy product to get into. These mush puppies for dogs, very common. Easy way to get into it, not that expensive at all. They're actually cheap, I would say. I mean, relatively. It's not 20, there's different sizes, so, $28.99 I think is the most expensive one. But danradiostyle.petclub247.com. That's danradiostyle.petclub247.com. You got those. You got the super sauce, which you can squeeze on. They got that for dogs and cats. Cats have the mojos, and so do dogs. And it's a liver that's coated with this mushroom on it. The mush puppies just have the mushroom in it. A lot of people have talked about the huge results they've seen with their cats and dogs as they've used this. Ones that had problems, had some sicknesses, had some issues. Their immune systems seem to really kick into overdrive. And believe it or not, works for horses. Pretty cool. It also works for humans. There's a whole human tab. There's, again, something I take every day. It helps just in general with just the way I sleep at night. The dreams I've been noticing a little bit differently. Like a lot of it's kind of weird. It's very cool. I mean, I've been doing it for a little while now, so the dreams are kind of common now. But at first it was like, whoa, that's weird. It's crazy. So again, great products. Go to danradiostyle.petclub247.com. That's danradiostyle.petclub247.com. Make that big step for your dogs and cats, and hopefully even yourself if you play your cards right. Donald Trump talking truth this out. Illegal migrants who are pouring into our country in record numbers are taking the jobs away from the black and Hispanic people who have held them for years. And it is devastating for the black and Hispanic patriots of our nation. These jobs are not replaceable and never will be, because under Comrade Kamala Harris, the border will be wide open and there will always be more people coming in, many of them terrorists and criminals, than jobs available. Kamala is killing black and Hispanic heritage. She is killing their legacy and their rights. Register and vote for your all-time favorite president, me. November 5th will be our most important day in the history of our country. Make America great again. House GOP releases Afghanistan withdrawal report, finding that the Biden-Harris admin failures. And so really calls out a bunch of them. We don't need to have the time to really dig into it, but yeah, they called it out. The Biden-Harris administration was more concerned about getting troops out of the country because of promise they made or whatever than actually doing it properly. And it seems because of that, failed and cost the lives of 13 Americans, 13 beautiful Americans that didn't need to die. Didn't need to die. They did not need to die. We shouldn't have given up the airport either. That was stupid, but whatever. We didn't need to lose 13 Americans. That's for sure. Huge Supreme Court doc leak exposes Chief Justice is meddling in the Trump's January 6th and election cases. This seems to have bounced between a couple of the justices. Ultimately, Roberts wants everybody to be on the same page. He wants this to be a unanimous case, and he's having a hard time getting that, it seems. It also has been leaked that he's kind of taken over all of these cases. This is an interesting thing because the leaks have been true so far, and the fact that there are leaks is still extraordinarily concerning. And I think they're coming from, Sotomayor at this point, I'll be honest, because she's the one that dissented and is dissenting and is holding the line on that. And she, I'm going to be honest, would do it. I'm quite sure. I don't know her. I can't guarantee it. I've never met the chick in my life. But from the way she's always been and the way she's kind of the supreme minority version in there right now, it would make sense that these leaks are coming from her. We'll see who, in fact, is involved in it. But, yeah, this is not cool. And so Roberts is fighting hard for Trump, for sure, and for the fact that we're setting precedent for the way this country moves forward. And the deep state wanted to take us into the dark place of the control and no constitution and quote-unquote democracy. But what the Supreme Court's actually looking at doing is following the Constitution, which has laid some great groundwork for us to get this far and to transition through this. So this has been, I think, from what the article is suggesting, has been quite a battle going on in the Supreme Court as well. We'll see how that continues to play out. Federal judge temporarily blocks Biden administration rule limiting flaring of gas at oil wells. So oil wells, I think, have to do this one. I don't know enough about it. I assume it's for probably like to keep the pressure down too. Like there's a few things that work, and over a lot of pressure inside an oil thing could cause problems. But whatever the case is, the judge said no. You guys can't. The Biden administration cannot stop us from doing this. It's an important thing or whatever. So yeah, whatever the case is, the oil people won that round for sure. We've got a giant chemical plant explosion that happened in Texas. Again, Texas, you've had a couple little problems. A big state, though, so I get it. It's like friggin' country of itself. But yeah, a big chemical plant explosion going on with no volume, I guess. ABC News. Oh, I'm still playing at 1.2. That's good enough. Yeah, that looks hot. That's for sure. I don't know if anyone's got any marshmallows. I'm sure they'd probably taste funny after that. All said, yeah, not cool. Active suppression of witnesses. CIA apparently lied about Havana syndrome. This is what a whistleblower is coming out and saying now. CIA has lied about Havana syndrome. Interesting. This whistleblower complaint represents the most significant and lawful disclosure of information that undermines the public posture of the intelligence community, and specifically the CIA concerning AHIS, Zaid said. The information seen firsthand by the whistleblower directly contradicts the asserted conclusions that U.S. personnel, particularly within the IC, are not being attacked by foreign powers using some sort of directed energy. It asserts the existence of classified documents which are specifically identified in the complaint is being specifically or deliberately covered up, including being withheld from our other investigating federal agencies. So CIA is covering this up, and somebody's coming out and narking on them. You go, boy. Love it. Love it. Bombshell UFO hearing. There's a bunch of UFO stuff coming out. This one was kind of weird. Hearings taking place in Congress as new footage emerges of huge craft near a U.S. nuclear weapons base. It was a reasonably... Yeah, here it is. This picture is large. I don't think the video is going to be a whole lot better. I could zoom in a little maybe, but it's not going to help much. But yeah, it seems reasonably large, whatever the hell that is. That's kind of trippy. That's pretty cool. And I love it when it's something that many, many, many people see, because that always matters a lot. When a lot of people see something, it kind of helps make it real, if you will. So, yeah, things are changing, folks. Oh, I got one more story. And we'll see what this one is. Oh, yeah, this is sad. Tito Jackson died. Yeah. It's the dude they named the vodka after, right? I'm just kidding. I don't think that's where they named Tito from. But Tito Jackson, one of the original Jackson 5, was born in 1953. Absolutely probably just, I don't know, destroyed by his father in many, many weird ways. And then dies in 2024. Is his dad still alive? Or he finally died, didn't he? He's 70, so I guess his dad would have been friggin' old as Jesus. All said, very sad. We lost one of the Jacksons. Another one of the Jacksons, I should say. Folks, again, a lot going on. I'm curious as hell to see what tomorrow brings because, frankly, the things are moving so fast. The world's changing that quickly. We have to be on our toes, be ready, be prepared for anything at this point. Okay? We're there. Game on. Let's get serious, guys. We've got a lot to do, and we've got a ways to go. It's going to go fast, but we've got a ways to go. I love you guys. I'll be there with you every step of the way, shoulder to shoulder. Where we go one, we go all. It's On the Fringe with Dan Radio Style.